Right, so our notes for today, we're doing more with solving equations and inequalities, but we're going to be introducing something called set builder notation. Has anyone dealt with set builder notation before? A couple of us? Okay. So for most of us, this is new. That's awesome. I like it when I get to teach you new stuff because so much of what we've done so far is we've been reviewing. But set builder notation is simply a way to display your answers, right? So normally we just say x equals, or y equals, or m equals, and we just put a box around our circle. But set builder notation is a specific mathematical way to represent our answers, and it's going to look something like this. So we have what I call a curly brace here, and then the variable that we're talking about, and then we put this vertical line, and then we say what our answers are. Now, it seems kind of silly enough for us to write it this way, but sometimes our answers get a little more complex, and set builder notation is actually beneficial for us. In some of my math classes in college, we had to always write our answers in the set builder notation. All right, so the way we read this is, when we see that curly brace, we say the set of all x such that, this vertical line means such that, x equals 2. So this is basically where we list our answers, because sometimes we will have more than one answer. For right now, we're just going to be having one, but later this year we'll have equations where there's actually multiple solutions for it. So a set is a collection. Orienting this again. It's a collection of numbers. Is a collection Yep. Of numbers. And another word for collection, you can think of it as a list of numbers. We're basically just listing out our solutions. Okay, so our numbers, those are our solutions. So again, we take our solutions and write it in the set builder notation, and it's going to look like this. Now, here we have x, right? But it's not always going to be x, it's whatever variable we're solving for. Usually we are solving for x, but if our equation had a y in it, then we would put y. If our equation had an L in it, then we would put L. Okay, so this is simply the variable that we're solving. So you'll notice before we pretty much just wrote this, so all you have to do is put these curly braces, x vertical bar. So that's all we have to do. Okay, so really what we're doing today is just more with our solving, but now we're going to be writing a lot of our answers in set builder notation. Just make sure you read the directions. Your directions will tell you when to do that set builder notation, specifically on like a quiz or test. We'll be doing it quite a bit. Alright, so first a reminder of our steps to solving an equation. We want to get rid of parentheses. Get rid of parentheses. So sometimes this requires us to distribute a number. So I'm going to put that in just off to the side. Sometimes we have to distribute to help us get rid of those parentheses. Now, again, later on this year, we're going to encounter problems in which we can't get rid of the parentheses first. We have to actually get rid of all the other stuff, and then we have to do something like square rooting to get rid of our parentheses. Aurelia? Draw your earbud, please. Okay, so sometimes we have to distribute. And so just a reminder from our previous lessons that distribute is when we have something like this. This is when we distribute -5 times 2, give me -10, and we have x. -5 times -4 would be plus 20. That's our distributing. Once we distribute, then we no longer need this. Alright, so once we distribute, then we want to go ahead and combine like terms. Combine like terms. Remember, for combining like terms, it has to have the same variable and same exponent. Now, what we're going to be working with today probably already have the same variable and same exponent. But again, later down the road, we're going to have some x squareds that we'll be solving. Okay. So once we do those two things, then we proceed just like we did the last class. We want to get the variables on the same side. variables on the same side. And we want to go ahead and get them on the left side because we want our answers to have the x on the left. So get variables on the left side. And so in order to do this, then we're just going to do what we did last class. Add, subtract first, multiply, divide second. Okay. So after we've gotten them on the left side, then we want to get rid of addition or subtraction, just like we said. Get rid of addition or subtraction. And then we'll get rid of our multiplication, division, and subtraction. Then get rid of our multiplication division. Get rid of multiplication. So we want our variables on the left side. We do addition and subtraction first, and then multiplication. Now, whatever we get for our answer, we can always check that answer. We can always check our answers by simply plugging it in. We can always check the work by plugging it in. If it makes your equation true, then we know that's the correct answer. Alright, so again, we're doing more of what we just did last class. It's just we have a few more pieces to it where we might have more than one variable, we might have those parentheses we have to distribute. So it's the same idea as last class. We just have to simplify some stuff first before we can add, subtract, multiply. All right, any questions before we actually do some of these problems? All right, so to solve each equation, and notice again it says write your answers in set builder notation. So we don't have any parentheses here for number one. That's awesome. We want to go ahead and combine our like terms. So I see I have this negative 9x.
Is that the group?
What's what? Get rid of addition / subtraction. So I want to combine like terms. I see I have negative 9x, positive 2x, and positive 1x. So again, you can use your calculator to help you out, but remember you should never be typing x on your calculator. It will give you the wrong answer. So we're just adding negative 9 plus 2 plus 1. You're going to put that in your calculator, so what do we get when we combine it? Negative 6, do we agree? I want 2 confirmations before I'm on. See, 1 confirmation, when else get negative 6?
Yes.
Okay. So I have negative 6x. And so I see I have negative 4 and positive 7. What's negative 4 plus 7 give us? 3. Yeah. So we have positive 3. And then we still have our negative 15. Okay. So we combined our like terms. We see we already have our variables on the left side. So now we're just going to solve like we did last class. So at this point, it's just what we did last class. So I want to go ahead and get rid of addition, subtraction. So I'm going to subtract my 3. Negative 6x equals negative 18. Alright, so again, we're just subtracting the same thing from both sides. And then how do I get rid of my negative 6 here? Divide. Yeah, we're currently multiplying. The inverse is going to be to divide. So we're going to divide by negative 6. Now put in your calculator. What do you get for your answer? 3. So when we do this, now make sure when you're calculating negative 18 divided by negative 6. When we do this, we need to answer in set builder notation. So remember set builder notation. We have our variable and then x equals something. We're solving for x. So we're going to put curly brace x, because that's the variable we're talking about. Put our vertical bar, which means such that. And then we just put our solution. We found that x equals 3. And this is our answer here. I'm going to go and highlight this so it's easy to look at. So that's our set builder notation that we're going for. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we do have parentheses. Here, there, class. Number 2, we do have parentheses, so we're going to have to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. So again, we're just using these tools that we had from Unit 1. Distribute out that 5. 5 times m is 5m. 5 times negative 3, what does that give me? Negative 15 equals negative 10. We already combined our like terms. There are no extra terms to combine. My variable is already on the left. So now I'm just right back to what we were doing last class. We want to add 15 to both sides. So I have 5n equals positive 5. And then once again, if we're multiplying, the inverse operation would be to divide. So I'm going to divide by 5. 5. And what does 5 divided by 5 give us? 1. So again, I have my curly brace, x, vertical bar, and I just write my answer. Oh wait, it's not x. What's our variable? M. So that's where we're going to have to change our variable. So m such that n equals 12. That's our answer. Alright, questions so far? Okay, so this is the basic idea that you'll see in our different problems that there's kind of different situations and a few reminders. So looking at number 3 here, one of the reminders is that when we distribute, I have to distribute the negative 2. Not just 2, but negative 2. So I still have my minus 4p, my negative 4p. The negative 2 times 4 gives me negative 8. And negative 2 times p, what does negative 2 times p give me? Negative 2p, good. Still equals 2. Okay, so that's kind of our reminder here, is make sure you distribute that negative with it. Alright, I'm going to start calling on people to help us out with the different steps. So, Alan, negative 4p and negative 2p. These are like terms. What does negative 4p and negative 2p give us? You're welcome to use your calculator to help you out with that. Negative 6p. Alright, so I took care of those. I still have my negative 8 equals 2. Alright, so again, right back to what we were doing yesterday. Add, subtract first, then multiply, divide. Who would like to volunteer our next step? What do we do next? Plus 8. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. So negative 6p equals 10. And then what do we do after that? And then divide by negative 6. Alright. What does 10 divided by negative 6 give us on our calculator? Yeah, it's a decimal, right? Go ahead and see if you can convert that to a fraction. Yes. Negative 5 over 3? Yes. Perfect. So again, set builder notation. What's our variable this time? Such that p equals negative 5 over 3. Okay. Just to remind you guys of how we convert it back into a fraction, because that's a very important thing for us to be able to do. Because sometimes, like on the SOL, suppose it's a multiple choice question, the answers might be only in fraction form instead of decimal. Alright, so we had negative 10 divided by 6. Gives us this nice long decimal. Alright, who can recall how we change it back into a fraction? Math. Math, good. That very first one stands for fraction. And there you go. Okay, so just a reminder for you guys of that. Alright. Now number 4, same idea, but we have fractions, right? Nothing different with it, just when you put the fraction in your calculator, make sure you put parentheses around. So I still have to distribute 2/3 times 6/10. So when we put that in our calculator, you want to use parentheses around your 2 divided by 3. And then do times 6. Do you guys agree with 4? Yes. Now remember, we do have if you have the nice updated calculator, which you'll have in my classroom, but on the SOL if you get a nice updated one, then we can do the alpha, right? So we're going to go alpha y equals good. That'll give you that nice vertical fraction. No, I don't have 22. That'll give you that nice vertical fraction. And then you don't have to worry about parentheses. So just a few reminders there. Okay, so we get 4. So we get 4n. And then distribute again. 2/3 times -15. Put that in your calculator so that you get it. I think I heard over here. -10. Do others agree it's -10? Mm-hmm. Awesome. -10. Then we have equals -6. Alright, again, it's just what we were doing last class at this point. I'm going to call in some names again. Let's see. Bradley? What's going to be my next step? Yeah, good. We're going to add 10 to both sides. Very good. So I have 4n equals 26. Okay, and then Angela, what would be my next step here? Yeah, good. Division. Divide by 4. Very good, guys. Okay, so again, we have to write our answer, curly brace.
How did you get 26?
And not 26, thank you. Just be -6. You fix that. So we had -16 and we added 10 to both sides. So that should be -6. Thank you. That was close. Alright, so we'll put them in our calculator, simplify. And our answer, we have the curly brace. Talking about m again, vertical line. What does m equal? -3/2. What was that in the decimal? -1.1. Questions with that? Let's go and flip that page over. Alright, so I'm going to have you guys do a few on your own, but I want to caution you toward a couple of things. For number 5 here, notice again this is -1. So we're going to be distributing -1 to each piece. And then again with number 7, just be careful you have that negative there. So I want you guys to go ahead and try 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. You are welcome to talk to each other for help. I'll be coming around as well to help out. So if you need help, just raise your hand if you come to you. But go ahead and try these 4 on your own or with your shoulder partner. Or we'll come back together and go over it. Again, I'll come around to answer questions as well. Yeah, -1. Good. Yep, when we have a negative in front like that, it's -1 times that. So it's
Yeah.
One times positive. And it's positive, right? So put a plus sign. Don't use your cell. Okay. Can you combine these together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So we want to be careful because we want to divide by 3, but we don't want to divide by a lot. Just the number. That's a nice So that's your answer there. Very nice pictures there. So guys, just do your best with drawing the curly brace. It's taken me years to draw it as well as I can. I practice all throughout. That's good. So, I like something, no, you're correct, it's positive. I'm going to put a plus sign. So now when we go, it's 3y, so it's going to be positive. How do I get rid of positive? Minus, yeah. Maybe minus over here. So how would that change things? Get your W's on the same side. So you want to get this W, so we get rid of the positive 6W. Minus 6W, good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's negative 2 times 4. Okay, so you have negative 2B then, so you're going to because it's a positive, yes, you do it as a subtract. Now be careful, we're multiplying negative 2 times 3. So now we need to get our D's on the same side and our numbers on the same side. Could I like that? Good. So what do we have over there? Let's look there, right? Well, so we have to get 2D's, right? So we have negative 2D, that's what you're right there. And then those cancel, so that should 0, you're done. Well, you can say plus here, but you don't need to because it's gone right now. So you're just going to write your equals. Oh, yeah, because yeah. And then we have 1 plus minus D. Careful, because we still have minus D, right? We have 1 plus 6, and then there's still minus D after that. we have 7 minus d. So we have to get this d over there. If I have a negative d, how do I get that over here? Yeah, so what's the opposite of a negative? Odds 1 to plus d and plus. It's plus 1 d on both sides. Right here. So underneath you write plus d and plus d. So we're not going to divide by negative 2 yet. That's going to go here. So underneath you erase your dividing by d. Yeah, and we're not even doing the 2 yet, so you can erase all that dividing by 2. Because first we've got to just do the time first. So now we have negative 2d plus 4. That's negative 2 plus 1.
Equals negative 12 into plus 1.
Negative 1 no, 7. So don't forget, so it's negative 1d. Let's write the d next to it. Equals 7. You were correct to have the 7 up there. You're right. You want it there, and it was up there. They're 2 separate steps. So I'd do 7. Yeah. So we're kind of. So what we have now is just this. We're kind of overflowing. So now we need to get rid of our negative 1. Now you divide by your negative 1. See how that's our only d in the entire equation? So that's our now divide by negative 1. Both sides. There you go. Well, be careful, it's a positive subject. So d equals so if we want to move that over, we get negative 1. How do we get it over to the other side? What's the opposite of negative? Plus? Yeah, plus 50. Nice. Yeah, this is a negative. Yeah, so you're. Guys, go ahead and check your answers to those are and then you've got a minute for a moment for that one. Good. Okay, there's one. No. I don't know. Because this is negative. We put it on sideways, so we're watching the answer because you don't do nothing in this country. It's that whole thing. Alright guys, let's look at these. Alright, so let's go take a look at each of these. I'll go through the entire process for you. And as you have questions, just raise your hand and we'll go through the questions. So again, this is the same thing as -1. So we have to distribute. We still have 7y. Don't forget about that one. -1 times 4y is -4y. And then we have -1 times -1 gives us +1 equals -1. Now I can to go ahead and combine my like terms here. 7 minus 4 gives me 3y. Right, and then at this point, we just solved like we did last class. I think the biggest mistake I saw people make is that they had a negative one here instead of a positive one. So I subtract 1. So 3y equals negative 12 minus 1 is negative 13. Divide by 3. We get y equals negative 13 thirds, but make sure you put that in your step builder notation. Should have done that in a different color. And that is my answer there. Any questions with number 5? So for number 6, no distributing. Now, I personally think it's better for us to get our variables on the left side. You technically can do it on either side, but traditionally we want to have it in the left side at the end. So I'm going to go ahead, if I have positive 6w and I want to move it over, how do I get rid of the positive 6w? Yeah, we want to subtract 6w. Alright, so I have 10, negative w minus 6w, so negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7w. This cancel equals negative 25. Okay, now I want to get my number to the other side. So if I have a positive 10, how do I get rid of that? Negative 10. Thank you, I saw too. Sign language there. So negative 7w. And what's negative 25 minus 10? Negative 35. Hey. And negative 7 times w. Divide by negative 7. And what I've noticed is a lot of us are not quite careful with our negatives, so just use your calculator to help double check. Negative 35 divided by negative 7. W is positive 5. And again, put that in your set builder notation. Questions with number 6? Okay. So number 7, again, we have to distribute negative 2 times d, negative 2d. Negative 2 times positive 3 is a negative 6. And 1 minus d. Alright, so let's go ahead and add d to both sides, and that's adding 1d. So I have negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1d minus 6 equals 1, and those cancel out. I need to add 6 to both sides. Negative d equals 7. How do I get rid of this negative 1? Yeah, just divide by negative 1. So we get d equals negative 7. Again, put your curly brace. Alright, do we have any questions with that one? Okay. So number 8. Again, we have to distribute, so I have 3 times x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. 5x. 5 times positive 8 is a positive 4. I want to get my x's on the left, so I'm going to subtract 5x. It's a positive 5x, so to move it over, I want to move the whole thing. Right, so I have 3 minus 5 gives me negative 2x minus 6. Those cancel. There's 40. And I want to add my 6 to both sides. Negative 2x. 40 plus 6 is 46. And again, once we have this all by itself, we can divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. We get x equals, make sure you're careful, 46 divided by negative 2 gives me negative 23. Put that in your curly braces. Okay, questions with that? Now this next one is extremely important. extremely important. You'll see numbers 9 and 11 are similar in that, look, we have a fraction equal to another fraction. Does anyone really take that out? Does anyone remember how we solved these from last year? Does anyone remember from last year how we solved these?
Divided by 4 and then 2.
You could do that. You can do each individual one. There's an even easier way, because if I do each individual one, then I'm just going to have a lot of fractions. And we can do that. I just have a lot of fractions to work with. But there's an easier way. We call it cross multiply. So cross multiply means that I am going to multiply these together. So I want everyone to go ahead and circle those. Circle those on your paper. Ellen, circle those on your paper. So I have 2 times, and we have to put this in parentheses, right? Because it's that whole thing. 2 times 2n plus 2. And I have to do the same thing for the other diagonal. So it makes kind of this x, this cross multiply. And I think I lost that. Was that a negative thing? No, it's positive. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do it the other way. So we have equals 4, and we have to put this in parentheses again, times 3 and minus 3. So we call this cross multiply. It makes this x. You can think of like the butterfly. And so then we don't have to deal with the fractions. Now we just distribute a bunch. Right? So I have 2 times 2n is 4n. 2 times positive 2 is positive 4. 4 times 3n is 12n. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then we can solve from there. Alright, I want you guys to go ahead and solve that one and see what you get.
You need to solve one.
Yep, solve it down to the end. What do we get for n? And then you can choose your, put your answer in the box.
So the 4 and the 2.
To the 4 and the 2.
You have to both of them.
Yeah, you have to distribute both of them. So we're still working, so we have to give it a moment. Yes.
So now I don't know now you actually see that. God, what a thing.
Alright, I see some really good answers. Some are just a little bit off. So let's look and see how we did. I'm going to go ahead and subtract my 12n so I can keep it on the left side. 4 minus 12 gives me negative 8n. Those cancel. Alright? So I need to subtract my 4. Right out of room. So I get 8 negative 8n equals negative 16. Just divide by negative 8. Divide by negative 8. What's negative 16 divided by negative 8? 2. Good. So you want to be careful. This happens a lot with all my students. Sometimes we flip it in our head and we think 1/2 rather than 2, but we do get n equals 2. Very good. Okay. I just want us to go ahead and practice once again our setup for cross multiplying. Because cross multiplying, we'll do it throughout this year. We do it again in geometry. I get in algebra 2. So it's something that you definitely want to make sure you can do. It makes it a lot easier for you. Okay, so again, we're going to cross multiply. I'm going to go and put parentheses around these just to help us remember we need to write parentheses around them when we write it out. Okay. So let's just go start. My 5p plus 2, what am I going to multiply that by?
4.
2. We want to go across. Alright. So I have 2 times, parentheses, 5p plus 2. Alright, and then the other way, 4 times, parentheses, 4p minus 8. And now it's the exact same thing you just did. You distribute, and then solve. So go ahead and give that a try. I'm going to let you guys even do the distributing. We're lucky here, these are both positive values. But distribute and solve. And again, I'll come around and answer questions for those.
So there's 2 times parentheses. 5 plus 2.
And guys, don't forget your equals. That's an important part. You're giving me their teach. So, yeah, we only need the one negative. Because once you write that negative, and then we just subtract.
Wait, who's
Checking on the ribbon. Or sorry, I like what you have so far. So we're going to subtract this to a negative 6. And minus 16. And then we subtract it. And that's something minus 32. So we subtracted 4. Ooh, so I want to be careful. My 4, does that have a p with it? So the 4 from my 16. Nope.
But the 2 is okay, right? The 10 is okay.
Yeah. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and work through this while you guys are finishing up. So you can see if you made a mistake where you might have messed up. Alright, and then I'm going to choose to go ahead and subtract my 16p from both sides. I get negative 6p, and I sum my positive 4, negative 32. So now I'm going to subtract my 4. Negative 6p equals negative 36. Divide by negative 6. I get P equals positive 6. So we should have gotten some there. Questions with that? Alright, so these other ones over here, this is what value of x makes this equation true. Again, we just simply solve for it. Now, something important here. So we've been saying get your variables on the left side. So if I have a negative 2x, how do I get rid of that? Plus 2x. And again, we can only combine the x together. So we have 9 plus 2 gives us 11x. I sum my negative 33. And I have equals. What does it equal? 0. Yeah, it equals 0. So that might happen. It's not going to happen very often, but that does happen. And then we just solve like normal. Again, add your 33 and then go on. Number 12. Again, same idea. We need to combine our like terms first. So I would have 3 halves minus 1. You want to use your calculator to help you out with that. But 3 halves minus 1. Does anyone know what that actually is? 3 halves minus 1.
0.5.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Very good. So it's 1/2 or 0.5. So it's 1/2 y. And then we still have 4 plus 5 halves y. So it's the same thing, they just threw in fractions. And we will have fractions and decimals in Algebra 1. Alright, so I want to get all my y's on the left side. So if I have a positive 5 halves y, how do I get rid of that?
Negative.
We want to subtract it, right? The opposite of adding is subtracting. So subtract 5 halves y from both sides. And again, use your calculator to help you out with this. 1/2 minus 5 halves.
2y.
Yeah, it's going to be negative 2y. It's actually just a nice whole number. So negative 2y equals 4, and that comes it out. And that's a lot easier from here, right? What are we going to do next?
Divide by negative 2.
Divide by negative 2. So same idea. Equals, there's this in I put that in my set builder. So it gives us, it's the same idea, it's just we have fractions. Use your calculator for fractions. Did anyone happen to finish out number 10 and get the answer? 3. 3 is correct. Very good. Okay, so let's going to take a look at our next page. This is just more with inequalities. Again, remember, it's the same process, right? Distribute, combine like terms, get variables on the left side. So we're going to, again, get it on the left side. Get rid of addition, subtraction, get rid of multiplication, division. But there's something we have to be careful with. When we multiply or divide by negative, you must flip this sign. Okay. So same thing as last class. We'll graph it on our number line here. And we still write our answer in set builder notation. So same thing, just put those curly braces. Alright. So I want to get my x on the left side. So if I have positive 3x, how do I get rid of that? Negative 3x on those sides. Let's zoom in a little bit on this. Alright. So 1x minus 3x. What's 1 minus 3 give us? Negative 2x. Good. What's that? And I sum my plus 10. And I have my less than or equal to. The x is canceled. Negative 8. So same thing as yesterday, or last class. Was that Monday? Today's Wednesday? Okay, we're back. Alright, what's my next step going to be? No, we want to subtract that 10 from both sides. So I have negative 2x. Those canceled out. What is negative 8 minus 10? Negative 18. So what you want to be careful with here is they're both negatives. Because they're both negatives, that means it's going to be a larger negative number. When they're opposites, that's when we get the smaller number. When they're the same size, it can be a larger number. Alright, so now what do I do?
You're going to divide 18 by negative 2.
Okay, divide by negative 2. And right now there should be an alarm going off in your head. It's not a fire drill. What do we have to do?
You have to flip the sign.
Good, flip this sign. Negative 18 divided by negative 2?
9.
Positive 9. Alright, now instead of putting set builder notation, so I'm going to be sneaky and just go ahead and put curly braces around it, and my vertical bar X in front of it. Okay. We're going to graph this just like we did last class. Is this an open or closed circle?
Closed.
Closed. Very good. So we want to go to where 9 is. Here's my 9. Okay, there's 9. Sneak in between 8. So closed up. And which way are we going?
Left.
Right.
To the right. See how this is pointing to the right? We want to go to the right. Very good. Questions with that? Alright, same thing for number 14, just like we were doing before. I want to distribute -2. What's -2 times 7? -14. -2 times -1x. Positive 2x. And again, use your calculator if you need help with negatives. -2 times -1 gives me a positive 2x. I sum my sign there. -14 minus 5x.
Wait.
Okay. I hope not. Eric, are you okay? Are you sure? Okay. Alright. I want to get my x over here. -5x, what do I do? Positive, yeah, positive, right? It's already negative, so we want to do plus 5x. Very good. Alright, so I have -14
-9.
plus 7. -14. Those cancel. Okay. So now I need to get rid of my -14. How do I do that? Add 14, so plus 14. So I have 7x. Uh-oh, what's -14 plus 14? 0. Is that okay?
No.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Sometimes that happens, not often, but sometimes it is. So now we're going to divide by 7. What is 0 divided by 7? 0. So I have x is less than 0. Do I need to flip my sign?
No.
Nope. Let's put our curly braces around it. Throw that vertical bar x in front. Alright, so we have 0 right smack dab in the middle. Is that an open or closed? Open. There's no equal to. So open. And go ahead and point which direction are we going to draw our arrow.
Right.
Left is correct. Your left. Everything less than 0. Questions with that? So now I always like to throw in these types of questions here. These are ones you'll probably see again on like a quiz or test, but these are the type of questions I like to ask on the SOL. Okay, so this is one type of thing. Now, for number 15, it's pretty much what we've just been doing in 16. So I want to go and take a look at 17 first, actually, and then we'll go back. This is a little different than what we've done, right? So it says choose the answer from the bank and write in the box. So these are our options, and we're going to write in our answers here. Between which two consecutive steps did Christopher make a mistake? Who knows what consecutive means? That's a pretty big word.
Constant, like, repeated.
Yeah, it's one right after another. So consecutive means it's like this one and then the next one. So we're not skipping anything. So it's either from here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here. We can't go from step 1 to step 4. So consecutive is one after another. Okay. So where is the mistake? Okay. So let's see. Our first step would be to distribute. What is -2 times x?
-2.
-2x. That looks okay so far. -2 times +3? Oh, -3. Oh, looks like we found our mistake. Oh yeah, -6.
Yeah, it'd be negative.
Still an issue, right? But yeah, it was a -6. And on top of that, where in the world did that negative come from? So our mistake was between step 1 and step 2. Step 1, step 2. Now on the SOL, They wouldn't have you type that in. What they would do is they would have you click and drag it over. That's one of those technology questions. Okay, so let's see the ones right above. Let's do 16. Which inequality represents all the solutions? So really, that's just another way of saying solve inequality. I'm going to call on people again just to make me practice names and get you guys talking. Katya. Thank you. Katya. What's one of the things I can do to start off with? Good. Distribute. So I'm going to distribute 2 times x is going to be 2x. 2 times positive 4, positive 8. We still have this guy. Ooh, they're trying to be sneaky here. What's 5 times negative 1x? Negative 5x. And 5 times positive 10? Okay, I'm not that old yet. Alright. Questions with that? Okay. Andrea, what would you like to do next? I like that. Let's add our 5x to both sides. We want to get the x's on the left side. 2x plus 5x, 7x. I still have plus 8. I still have my inequality. That becomes 0, and then we have 3. Very good.
Now beginning to
It's a positive 8, so it's still positive. Oh, you mean what we do next? Oh, yes, we subtract 8 from both sides. Sorry. I didn't realize you were going to do next side. As I saw, subtract 8 from both sides. 7x, those cancel out. It's less than, what's 50 minus 8?
42 divided by 7.
So, divided by 7. Do you guys agree with Eric that it's 6?
Yes.
Do I flip my sign? I drew it, but should I have flipped it? No, it's still positive. X is less than 6.
Wait, if the answer is negative, do you have to switch it?
Not if the answer is negative, only if divided by that negative. Okay, I want you guys to go to type 15. Smaller problem. Let's try that one. And again, I'll come around to answer questions if you have to. So, yes, but what they're actually asking for is this whole answer here. So what it says right in the inequality box, this is inequality, and then you're just telling me to use that for inequality. So you're actually going to get to it. So yes, the instructions for this are a little weird. You're going to actually just write your answer in the box, like x is greater than or less than something. That looks good.
And I do the
Ooh, careful. That's it. Did we get all of our x's on the left side? We gotta get our x's on the left side. So if you have a positive x there, I can move it over. So we have a positive. Right. Let's go and write our inequality signs. Yeah. So I have positive x. How do I move positive x? The opposite of positive x. On both sides. We write it like underneath, right? Just like you did up here. So we did plus 5x, so we're going to do minus x and minus x. But yeah, but we're subtracting it from the 2, right? Underneath the 2x. Oh, you see.
So I really
Clean up your hair.
like this. It's underneath.
Yes, but we're going to be writing the minus x here. Just like, see how you wrote plus 5x right underneath it, and plus 5x right underneath? We do the same thing here. Minus x underneath here, and minus x right underneath here. Class is actually about to end in just a couple of minutes, so once I get your homework out, I'll just let you go a little bit early. Okay guys, let's take a look at 15. So I want to get my x's on the left side. So if I have a positive 1x, if I have a positive 1x,
I'm going to subtract that 1x.
subtract 1x. So I saw 2, this is our plus. Subtract 1x from both sides.
So you get negative 3x
Negative 3x
plus 4.
plus 4 is less than
Negative 8.
negative 8. Okay? Now I'm going to get rid of 4.
And you get negative 12.
So negative 3x is less than negative 12.
And then you divide by 3.
Divided by
Negative 3,
negative 3. And an alarm should be going off in your head.
Switch the sign.
Switch sign. X is greater than. What's negative 12 divided by negative 4? 4. So our answer in the box is x is greater than 4. Again, on the S12, the instructions, the reason why they told you to use the equalize sign is that that's what you'll type. So with that being said, something different about the S12 this year is that you guys have laptops. When you take the S12, you're actually taking it on your laptop. So you actually bring your laptop to the S12. We'll talk about that in May. That's way far away. So that's something different. In years past, right, they would always lay out the laptops for you. But this year, you have to bring your laptop. Okay, so your homework tonight, I'm passing out to you for sheet 6. And return the calculators and your instruction on the homework. Good. And you made a read over.
Thank you.